2 weeks ago, nope, that's a lie. 1 week ago and some odd days, I had a tiramisu arancini.
And how was it?
What, you're not gonna ask me what that is?
I mean, I know what tiramisu is, and I think I know what arancini is. So I'm gonna ask you how it was.
Okay, A, it's probably one of the coolest desserts going in Richmond right now. B, if you've never had the way you're supposed to cook risotto, then this is going to throw you a little bit for a loop because it's exceedingly well cooked. And C, we have the chef on today. Antonio Owen is with us of Sweet Peas, and he is the individual who came up with the tiramisu arancini. Why the two together?
I don't have a real answer for that. So I think I'd seen a few, like I watch and read a lot about food and food trends and stuff like that. And I'd seen someone try to make one before. And so as soon as I saw the beginning of the video, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm not watching the video. I got to figure this out right here, right now. How do we make this happen? How do we do this? And then the playing started and I tried to make a baby out of it.
It's really fun, which is a lot of the food that's at Sweet Peas, which is your new spot on Broad Street.
Yes.
How many people can sit in there? It's a tiny restaurant.
It's not very big. Including the bar, we can fit about 50, but we do have a private dining area that's located upstairs. So we're going to be hosting private events and people can rent the room out that's upstairs and so on and so forth.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. There definitely is a need for a space like that. And you have or previously had a private dining. Actually, let's walk it back. How did you get into food?
Way back. Yeah,
right.
What was your first meal, chef?
I was born and I needed to eat. So there was
baby.
I don't think so. I think I was a breastfed baby.
Well, now that we are bad out of the way.
That's how you first.
But no, in this industry, how I got into it, I actually had my friend. I mean, I worked in fast food as a kid, right? Because who doesn't? That's just what you do. That's the only place you're gonna hire because then nobody trusts you as a kid. So I did that, and then after my first stint in the military, when I separated, as I was like trying to decide if I was going to stay in the medical field or not, I got a serving job at a Cracker Barrel. It was my very first actual restaurant that I worked at, which is also the only job I've gotten fired at. I got fired for drinking fruit punch, believe it or not. So that was my intro to food. It's like, here, come work these hours, but you can only have water and coffee.
Were you fired on the spot? Was it a big scene?
I mean, I didn't make a scene. I kind of laughed at the manager because I thought it was a joke. And she's like, no, you can't have fruit punch. I'm like, all right, I'll see ya. So it wasn't, I mean, for me, it wasn't a big deal.
Nonsense per serving and you're not allowed to have any. That's crazy.
Yeah, you can't, again, like I said, the only things you can have, oh, I'm sorry, let me take that back. Sweet tea, because obviously we're in the South, so everybody's entitled to sweet tea here. So you're entitled to sweet tea, coffee, and water, and that was it. And if you drank fruit punch like I did, you get fired.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I was thankful. It actually sent me to a second restaurant where I learned a lot more and got better at it. And then, I went back into the military after that. And I worked serving jobs on my transition out and worked in bars as well. And it wasn't until I worked with some guys who like knew way more about food than me, who knew all these things. And I felt like I was being held hostage a little bit because they knew way more about food and I had to believe everything they said. They were like, well, this is the way it has to be. And I'm like, okay. And I got kind of tired of that very quickly. So I went to culinary school.
So how did you get to the military? Where are you from?
So many questions.
I was born in Richmond. I like questions. They're cool. But I was born in Richmond. I got into the military because I was a knucklehead and I got in trouble. Like I was always a smart kid, like because I like to learn and like to know stuff, but I was just a knucklehead. And so I'm thankful for the judge that actually saw past my stupid doings and was like, hey, listen, here's your choice. You can go to the army or you can go to jail. It's up to you. And so that kind of put my life in that path.
That's a pretty intense choice.
Yeah. I mean, it was an easy one for me once he gave me the ultimatum. I didn't really have to think about it from that point.
How old were you when that decision was laid upon you?
17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, so you enlisted at 17?
Yeah.
And so what does 17-year-old Chef Owen look like, feel like? What was going through your brain when you left town and embarked on that journey?
Well, I wasn't really a chef then, right? I don't even think I had an interest in cooking besides to cook to eat. But yeah, I don't know what I felt like. I mean, I think I was very arrogant as a kid. I'm pretty sure I thought I was hard as woodpecker lips and nobody could say or do anything to me. But I think I quickly learned when I got to Missouri that that was not a reality.
Yeah. So what are some of the lessons you learned in the military that you were able to apply to, present day Chef Owen?
I think most of the things that I learned, the discipline, the drive for the biggest one for me is the drive for team. And that's the thing that I don't see exhibited in most places that not all places, but a lot of places I worked at throughout the years. Like teamwork is everything. And and you're only as good as the team behind you, right? Like I know everybody says you're only as strong as your weakest link. I don't really believe in weak links in the team. I think it's up to the leader to find what your strong link, what makes you the strong link, what your strength is, and put you in a position that you need to play. And so teamwork was everything, and like it's something I'll never let go of. That was the biggest thing for me, and the camaraderie, and also the discipline for sure.
So out of the military, you said you were in a medical area in the military?
Yeah, I was a medic in the army.
That's a lot of that's a lot. You see a lot there. So you left there and said,
It's a lot.
"I'll start making snacks?" Like that was you're like,
Well,
I'm done with
I think,
sewing up people's legs. I'll just make French fries now.
kinda. Hey, look, we make good fries. So
You do. That's why I brought it up.
French fries are my favorite food in the world, hands down, no questions asked. French fries are my favorite food. Like there is zero question about it. French fries are it for me. So
You and I are on the same wavelength. A good French fry makes my day.
I don't want ketchup though. So there's that.
No, you want aji verde. You were telling me that that's your
You
thing.
do want the ahi verde.
Now that I don't know what that is. Tell me what that is and why it's so awesome on French fries.
So if you go, have you ever been to the places like Chicken Fiesta or Canastas or places like that? So they do Peruvian chicken, right? So they do their Peruvian roasted chicken, which I do my own version of that. I make Peruvian chicken fries that are actual chicken shaped fries that we cut and we season them with Peruvian seasoning. And we serve it with the aji verde, which is the traditional sauce, the green sauce that you get that goes with it. Yeah. So Chicken Fiesta makes one. I make one. I make one that you want to drink. Chicken Fiesta makes one that you want to dip your chicken in.
It's
Huh.
the chicken fries, the French fries, and the sauce are extraordinary at Sweet Peas. Where did Sweet Peas come from? The name.
So that was my mother's nickname, like not all the time. So one of her main nicknames for her whole family calls her Darlene. I definitely didn't want to name a place Darlene's because it sounds like I would have to make Southern food if I called it that. However, she was called Sweet Pea and had an email that said Sweet Peas that I remember for like 100 years since email came about, since we were using dial-up. That was her email was Sweet Peas, and it was just something I've always remembered. And that's where the name came.
That's awesome. So, well, okay, still I'm missing a gap of your life. Military, culinary school, and then where after that? Straight back to Richmond?
No, no, no. I worked in New York for quite some time. From culinary school, I did my internship at LeCert. This is where I ended up making a home at after culinary school as well. But I was luckily getting there from a guy named Mark, who him and I worked together in upstate New York when I was in the process of separating from the military. Is how I met him. He was a meat chef there. Well, he was a meat entremet, which is the person that makes the vegetables on the meat station. And then he moved over to meat roast while I worked there. And he got me an internship there. So in order to get an internship, you had to do a stage, which is just like a fancy word for audition. So I had to do a 3-day audition at LeCert in order to be able to be accepted as an intern. And literally my first 3 hours there on my stage, I cut myself twice. And I was like, I've never been nervous to do much of anything. I've deployed a bunch of times. I've seen all the things. You put me in a kitchen with a bunch of professional chefs and say, here's a knife, figure something out. Here's your 3-day audition. I cut myself twice. I looked like an idiot.
You know, I can't, all those shows on the Food Network and The Bear, like I can't watch those shows. I can't relax and watch those shows because the second they pull out those knives, I recoil. I feel like they're going to cut their finger off every single time.
You know what got me on The Bear? What? It's not the knives. It was in the first season, a ticket printer that just didn't stop for like an hour consecutive. I was white knuckling my sofa. I'm just sitting there holding my breath. I almost passed out. It was the worst.
I did the same thing. It brought me back. Like I started grabbing a hold of my clothes. I was like, all I can think of is everybody's in the weeds. Everybody's in the weeds.
Everybody's in the weeds.
I'm sure. I'm blessed that I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Well, so the Cirque had to be, let's see, when did it close? 2018? No, 2019 it shut down in its entirety.
I think the one in New York, but the one at Bellagio is still open.
It's still open. So
But I think Cereal. I'm not sure if Cereal is still open or not, but I know the New York Cirque is closed now because it was in the Bloomberg building when I worked there.
Okay. So
And then
I think my memory served, it moved to what, 2007, 2008 to the Bloomberg building, or before that?
probably to the Bloomberg building. I was deployed in 2006, so I don't remember. I wasn't even in the industry that heavy at that time. Was still working my front of the house career, separated from the military, like in 2008, and so I wouldn't have known anything about Le Cirque. That was the funniest thing when I went to culinary school. It was almost like The Bear, the girl that is Sue in The Bear, or Chef de Cuisine in The Bear. Everybody knew all these fine dining places and named all this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, sandwiches. Yeah,
I know that.
right.
If you melt cheese on it, it'll taste better. I promise you. Just put cheese on it. That's me.
Got cheese on everything.
That is facts.
But yeah, so Le Cirque, I'm not sure when it moved, but I remember getting there, and I had a guy named Christian who took me under his wing. I started off doing some prep stuff and quickly got moved out of there because I learned how to do prep very fast and be very efficient at prep. So I learned more and got moved to banquets. And Christian kind of took me under his wing and taught me a lot. I mean, he was my first real chef that I had that taught me all the things.
I love that. I think it's important to have a mentor, especially in that type of environment, because, it is super high pressure all the time. So you leave Le Cirque, you come back to Richmond.
Well, I left Le Cirque and did a lot of catering. I went and finished another degree in school because I wanted to learn some more. So I was taking a lot of wine classes and stuff like that. I did my level 1 Somm while I was in New York, and I just tried to further my education. So we did a lot of catering with my friend in New York, and I worked with a lot of catering companies there as well, just to learn whatever I could. I actually went to a place in Brooklyn for like 4 or 5 months. I was their executive chef for a while. I think I was a little too young and I wasn't leading the right way. I was more being a manager. So when they weren't doing things right, it was just like, shut up and do what I said. It wasn't a teaching moment. It was more of a correction kind of thing, which doesn't really get everybody in your team. So I think that the owner and I sat down and we decided to part ways from there, which was better for me and better for everybody else because I don't think I was the person for that position at the time, even though I had the knowledge. I just didn't have what I needed to know to help everyone grow to get where we needed to be.
So how old are you at that time when you're leading your first kitchen? Are you in your mid-20s, late 20s?
When I was truly leading my first kitchen, no, definitely not. I was in my 20s in my military career. So I'm 44 now. So when I was 100% leading and things were on me was the kitchen in Brooklyn. So I had to be 33, maybe 33, 34, somewhere around there.
Was it a
No,
tough,
maybe 34.
was it a tough adjustment for you? I'm guessing, having never served myself, I'm guessing the military people follow orders pretty much to the T. But when you're going in a kitchen, oh no, am I wrong about that?
I mean, there's a human element in every everything in life, no matter where you are, there's always a human element. So
Sure. How does your military experience though compare to the kitchen experience, leading in both realms?
I think it was the main difference is, well, one of the similarities, let's talk about that first, is like the need to earn the respect, not just be appointed to respect. Because in the military, you have a lot of people who, in certain positions, you just gain rank out of being in that position for a certain amount of time. You will advance in rank. That doesn't mean you earned your rank. So I think leading in the military versus leading in the kitchen, I look at them the same a lot. The major difference is trying to keep people alive, right? Like, I mean, I guess in the kitchen, we're trying to keep people alive too, but not in the same aspect. So everything that we think about in the military, especially as a medic, is to how to not only keep yourself alive, but how to keep the others around you alive. Yeah. And so everything had to be taken way more seriously. And, you have to think on your feet a lot more.
For how many years were you overseas?
Oh, um, maybe in total, like 2.5 or so. I mean, I went in when we were doing peacekeeping missions still. So I got to do some fun deployments in addition to real deployments. I mean, they're all deployments, right? But I did some fun stuff too. So maybe a few years, 3 years.
Were any of those overseas experience, did any of them influence what you do in the kitchen now?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think there's any direct correlation between being deployed and working in the kitchen.
I think he's meaning more like food wise. Like, did you eat something over there that maybe brought
Oh,
back?
no, because I don't think that I thought about those things over there. And so I've had this conversation with people before because I did eat some interesting food overseas. I've eaten a lot of cool stuff. Actually, I take that back. Korean food is my favorite food besides French fries, is my favorite cuisine. And so, yeah, that's my jam.
What what kind of Korean food? Anything specific?
Um, no, I love all Korean food. Like I love Korean barbecue. I love bibimbap. I love bulgogi. I mean, I love Korean food. I like the spice texture and the use of I love gochujang a lot. So I love being able to manipulate that and use that a lot. And gochujang is really good as well. I love Korean food. I love it. I love Korea. I love all the pickled vegetables. Kimchi, I could eat it every single day. Every day I could eat kimchi. I never get tired of it. And the rice.
And the kimchi. And I have one of those tubs that are like the massive tubs of gochujang in my refrigerator. I just smear it on all the things. On all the things.
It's like your own version of Frank's Red Hot. You put
Yeah,
that on everything.
exactly. I prefer, so this is gonna be a terrible thing to say out loud, but I don't really like that chicken sriracha. The brand that
Rooster?
everybody loves. So yeah, rooster chicken, whatever it is. I don't really like it. I prefer gochujang. Who it is. You like sriracha?
That's fighting words.
I do like sriracha. I don't.
Clearly.
So it tastes a little different now, though. I don't know if people notice, but it definitely tastes a little different now.
It's way different.
Mhm.
And they
Since-
try to
since
hide it by
shortage, was
putting
it?
like garlic and stuff in it, and I'm like, no. That's
I still have 2 of the OG bottles, so if anybody wants to buy one, $700. Here we go.
You know what? We'll pair it together with some OG Four Loco. You and I, we'll go down. We'll go down 2 cans of Four Loco and 1 bottle of OG Sriracha, $2,000. How about that?
Bet. Say less, and don't forget the Mad Dog.
Nope. We'll wrap it up with some purple Mad Dog, and it's done.
What a night.
Stay home. That's all I can say. Do not leave your house.
Look out, Richmond. Before you opened Sweet Peas, and you still have a successful catering operation, correct?
Yeah, Chef Ancio. We opened in 2020 during COVID. As I was leaving Toast is when I started working on things to open Chef Ancio. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Chef Ancio actually has well exceeded what I thought it was going to do. So I'm very happy about where we are and the clients that we've met, the clientele we've built, and the relations that we made as well. So not only have, they always say your clients will become your friends before your friends ever become your clients. And that's 100% real. And so the people that I've met through Chef Ancio have been more than supportive throughout this experience of opening Sweet Peas, trying to be there, trying to book events with us, and anything that they could do to help. It's been great.
So I noticed. So Beth Dixon has been on the podcast, and
Pretty all bad.
yes, she's phenomenal. And I was thinking when I was drinking one of the drinks, because I went to Sweet Peas and enjoyed myself. Clearly, I had an arancini that was delightful. The souffle, however, we'll get into that in a second. I was drinking one of the cocktails and thought to myself, because you know how if you go to a brewery, there's like a house yeast taste to the beer. Like you can see across the beer, like maybe there's like a familiar. Not all of them are the same, but you understand where I'm going. There's like a little bit of that in Beth's drinks, and I was like, nah, this is just a drink that gives me an idea of Beth. Heck no, I was reading the other day that she did a little bit of consulting for you.
She did, and we love her for it. Beth Dixon is great.
And how did you meet Beth? Was it or was her partner that first and then Beth?
No, I met Beth at an event randomly. We both had an event with a client, and so I was running late and I forgot to grab something stupid, maybe like limes or something like that from a Kroger. And we had walked past each other at the store. I don't forget faces. Like it's just something I don't forget faces. I might not remember your name, but I won't forget your face. So we had seen each other at the Kroger, and I think we walked past each other trying to get stuff. And then at the event, I'm there, and then she pulls up and comes in. I was like, I just saw you at Kroger. She was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, oh, well, she was like, yeah, I'm the bartender for here. I have my own bartending service. And I was doing catering for the same guy. And that was actually, she ate my fries that night. And she has been talking about my fries ever since that event. Like literally tries to sell people on me, like, you got to try his fries. You got to try his fries.
You sent me a message
Yeah.
afterwards saying that they were good. So I thought that was really funny. I was like, hey, I think that you may have done some work over here. So cute. Which previous podcast guest, she's killing it with salt and acid. You were at Toad?
Dishes.
I feel like I'm missing like gaps of your life. Like they just keep throwing people more
Yeah.
The man of mystery.
So yes, one would say. So yeah, I was at Toast for a little while. I got hired before I moved here from New York. I got hired over the phone by Carrabba's, and one of the worst experiences I've ever had. It was terrible, terrible, and almost made me literally quit the industry. I thought about becoming Michael Scott and getting a day job as an office manager and just doing weird shit on stuff all day. And it was just like, yeah, here we are. And so before that happened, I sent out some resumes, and Jess had contacted me back about a manager position at Toast. And I ended up working at the one at Winterfield for a while as their general manager, and then became the culinary director for the group for a while. And then, COVID happened from there. But yeah, if it wasn't, honestly, had Jess not contacted me back, I might have been doing something else by now. Because being at Carrabba's had literally made me hate the industry, and I hadn't worked in restaurants in a really long time, and I was hoping that that wasn't the direction that restaurants were going. And so being able to get out of that and see differently was a big deal for me.
What about Carrabba's was bad?
Everything. Honest, I mean, except for the employees, right? Like, because again, you earn your respect by entrusting your employees, and you need to understand that their needs come before yours, is what I believe in. And so I think, a mindset I brought from the military was the two most important things are welfare of the troops and accomplishment of the mission. And I hold that true to this day when it comes to my business. And I think that's the only way to run a business as a true leader. But that was the biggest thing for me, is that I even had managers that were above me, which was I think they called it the JVP or whatever. They would always say, oh, don't find yourself doing hourly work. Don't ever do hourly work. And it's like, if my employees are in the weeds, why would me as a leader step away and say, hey, work faster, work harder, let me throw stuff at you while you do it? It's like, that whole mindset to me is just trash. And so if you build a company based on that mindset, I have no respect for anything like that. And it used to be good because we did make food from scratch when I got there. Not that that's really much of a thing anymore, but
Yeah.
I remember that it used to be a big deal at Carrabba's that they would do a lot of the stuff in it, like, from start to finish. I'm sad that it's not that way anymore. So I watched you the other night. You are cooking and you're bartending?
Oh, I do whatever we need.
So one of
Yes.
the hardest to get restaurant reservations, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, was at a place in Chicago where the chefs not only cooked the meal, they served the meal, and they made the drinks. So I was thinking to myself as I was watching you the other night, I was like, I feel like this is coming for him because you were back there making the food, and then you were up there making our cocktails, and then you were standing and talking to us about what was going on in the kitchen, and then at one point you cleared one of our plates. And I was like, this guy's everywhere. This is nuts.
Listen, there's no job that's beneath me, and I will hold that to the day I die. There's no job that's beneath me. If you ever get to a point where you're like, "Ugh, I can't take out this trash. Somebody else should be doing this." Your whole mindset is gone. I don't ever want to get to the point where, I mean, maybe it's an inconvenience and I don't want to do it, but I should never feel like I'm too good to take out a piece of garbage or too good to pick up a plate or pick up a napkin off the floor. I feel like that's when you lose yourself in that, you're done for. Either you have made so many multi-millions that you don't care anymore, or the whole like environment is going to surely follow your mindset.
I was thinking to myself, man, that's pretty cool that all of that's happening all at once. So I'm excited for you, Scott, to try this restaurant because I feel like Broad Street needs some good places to eat. How is it being on that in that area of Broad Street right now? I think it's still a little shuttered down there.
It's a little slow. Um, it is, a lot of things that people worry about is are parking. And so, and they don't want to park and walk, but it's like you're coming to Richmond, you're gonna have to park and walk. However, one thing that we have found to do that we will be doing once we're busy enough, we will be doing this in order to help mitigate that is we're gonna offer valet. We do have a certain number of valet spots that will be available. I mean, I had a valet there for the first couple of weeks, but it was just too slow to sustain it. So I just told him, hey, listen, when we start getting busier, I'll call you back. But once we're busier and we have, regular reservations all the time, valet is something that we will offer to help mitigate that. I mean, I do think that the business over there is great. If you look at the couple of blocks that we're within, it looks better as a whole. Um, it looks cleaner. I mean, I was outside power washing in front of my building one day, and then I'm not sure if somebody saw me or something, but the next day the city came to power wash the whole street for like 4 blocks. I'm not sure if somebody was like, hey, listen, we need to get over there and power wash because it looks really bad. But I'm glad they did it, and it seems like they're trying. So things have been slow, but they're starting to get better every week, and that's what the main thing that we can hope for.
I want to ask you about the jump from your catering business to the brick and mortar. How was that decision process for you, and why now are the questions?
Well, I really never really had an interest in opening a restaurant. But I ran into zoning issues with the county, and so we had been arguing about my building and where it was and how close it was to residential stuff, and it was commercial. And long story short is I didn't have money to keep paying them to fight the issue. So my thought process is let's just get that out of the county. Like, let's get out of the county and let's go get rich with some of our money, see if they love us more.
And that is so ironic because usually it's the other way around. So I'm glad we're hearing the other side of the story.
Right.
Um, Sweet peas. You mentioned that was named after your mom. Is she still with us? Is she still around?
She's not. She passed from brain cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that. What what part of her is in the restaurant? Like what's your other than the name, what is the homage to her?
The butterflies. So I always try to talk my mom into getting a tattoo because she was not for it at all. When she first saw me starting to get them in the beginning, she was like, nah, she wasn't for that either. But I think she quickly realized, like, I'm not going to stop doing this because I like it. So there's that. So it became an acceptance thing. But if she said if she ever got a butterfly, it was going to, I mean, if she ever got a tattoo, it would be a butterfly. And I think I convinced her of it that we were going to go do it together. And then she got ill and we never got the opportunity to such.
Are the butterflies in the? I have not been to the restaurant yet. Is there artwork? Is it on the menu, or what's the inclusion of the butterflies?
There's not one on the menu, but there's some on the walls. There's like butterflies on the walls in different places of the restaurant.
That's beautiful.
You're going to have to come see it.
I just work down the street, so I'll definitely be there. That's for sure. Another
Very
way.
pretty.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like the top of it looks gorgeous. The woodwork is really nice. The whole thing is very, very well done.
This is gonna
Yeah,
be
my partner, she's Bob the Builder. So she likes to build and construct everything that she possibly can. And so the benches, we built the benches ourselves and the backs for them. And then our plumber is he's also he words are hard. He also does a lot of woodworking as well. He's a carpenter. There we go. Got there eventually. So he likes to build tons of things. And he showed me an example of a bar he built. So we had him do that.
Oh, cool.
This is gonna be a long shot because I know you mentioned the judge gave you that decision 30. It was like 30 years ago, or maybe 25 years ago. Is that judge still around?
30.
Have you invited the judge for a meal?
I have no idea who he is. If I knew what his name was or that I thought that he'd still be around, I would 100%. And he probably has no idea who I am. He's probably like, yeah, whatever. Some kid, you know what I mean? So that was legit almost 30 years ago. And if I knew who he was,
Yeah.
I guarantee I would have went for a meal. Changed my life forever.
You know somebody in news who might up Scott's? Is he that way on me? Is he up down or where is he when pointing at?
In Hanover.
He's in Hanover.
Hanover judge. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna try to figure this out for us, and we're gonna make that.
Don't worry. I can give you more direct time frames when you're ready.
Yeah. After we
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, we're gonna make this happen. Maybe his family is still. If he's not, maybe his family is still around, and we can get you guys together. That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome. Change the trajectory of your life to send you to culinary school in Hyde Park and to get your sommelier so you can open a restaurant. I just think that's brilliant. That'd be cool, Scott. I want to be part of that. Just let's drink one of Beth Dixon's drinks and watch.
You need some French fries.
Okay, the French fries are.
And some French fries. Don't forget the ahi verde.
So you're doing, I think you're the only restaurant in Richmond doing a souffle to order right now. And that takes a lot of work. Why do you offer that?
I ask myself that question every day. Every time that I have to tell a guest that this is going to take 22 minutes for us to make it, I wonder why myself, what did I do here? But I think we make everything from scratch, like I think that's really important. And so if we want to call ourselves and we want to consider ourselves an upscale restaurant, not that we're fine dining, because you should be able to come into our store with shorts and flip flops if you want and be comfortable. Because I want everybody to be who they are. I don't think you need to be somebody who I expect you to be to come into our doors. Come how you feel like coming. Just don't be an ass while you're there, And so whatever. But I think that we make everything from scratch, and if we want to consider ourselves upscale, like we need to push the envelope. I don't want to be safe. I want to, hire. One of two things is going to happen. You take a high risk, either you're going to be rewarded greatly or you're going to fail greatly. So far we haven't failed doing it yet.
It can't be a very big kitchen in that spot, though. I wouldn't think.
It's not.
So if you're doing everything from scratch, how do you manage the space?
Very gingerly. We have things set up in sections. We do things to make ourselves succeed as well. Like we do prep ahead of time to be able to have things ready to a certain point so we can move forward in cooking. We're doing braised short rib right now, right? So when you're braising things, that's something that has to be done ahead of time where you can pull individual portions out and then get it ready for service. So the only things, we're not like doing steaks to order because we don't have space for a grill. And I've been working on doing a steak and thinking about it and trying to do a cast iron for a special, but I just want to make sure the quality is there before I decide to release something. For me, quality is everything. And so like, here, I'll give you a perfect example. Your husband that night said the arancini was good. It was on the way, but it wasn't great yet. You do know that kept me awake for a day. and I had to go back. And you can ask all my cooks. I went back and I reworked it twice to make it better because I that's just what I believe, right? Like everything has to be right.
Well, you're gonna give Ryan a big head because he just he'll love that. He'll think it's funny. He'll say us.
No, I mean, I take feedback seriously. I think we gotta, we had a lot of our reviews are 5 stars. I've gotten a couple of 3 stars, and somebody has said something that's made me reevaluate. And it's like, I think that you're never going to make everybody 100% happy, but there's always room for growth. And if you don't lose it, which is why I don't believe in a specialty item. People ask me, what's your specialty? I don't know. Cooking is my specialty. I like to cook food. And I think that once you have a specialty item, it's like, this is what I make the best. And this is what I care about the most. The growth might stop. And I don't ever want that to be the case.
A good half of your menu, well, I don't know about that. A good quarter of your menu is vegan or vegetarian. Is that it's by design, but is there someone that subscribes to the no meat, or is it just because you won some awards for your vegan food? So I was wondering where that came from.
I like to cook different stuff. I think again, it's that whole pushing the envelope thing and trying not to make vegan and vegetarian food boring. Anybody could go make a salad, say, here, eat the salad. But I mean, I don't want to, if I was a vegetarian or vegan, I don't want to eat a salad. I'm making food that I would want to eat if I were vegan, which is why we have things like that mushroom piccata or the gnocchi natural. Nobody's doing a mushroom piccata. I don't know why, but oyster mushrooms are very meat-like, and you can make it taste like what you want to make it taste like. So for me, it's just about eating things that I would want if I were in that specific situation.
I love it. Well, I appreciate you giving us the time today. I know you're busy with your new restaurant. Noah Sandoval is the individual who served, cooked, and bartended at the restaurant in Chicago. He is originally from Richmond. He worked under David Shannon.
Really?
Yes, before he went to Chicago. So maybe Richmond's the place that stuff happens. He got his first Michelin star, I think, in like 2017, and currently owns Oriole, which is weirdly enough vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, all those fun things in Chicago with all sorts of great awards behind it. So I don't know, sounds serendipitous to me.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, wait, we forgot to talk about Whitney Wednesdays. I've got to talk about Whitney Houston. So are we playing all Whitney music on Wednesdays? Are we doing Cosmopolitans for everyone? Are you?
Now it's gonna be Cosmos. We're not doing Cosmos. So listen, this is I was sitting down talking to my bar lead, my lead bartender, and her and I were like, I'm saying that we need to do something on Wednesday. We have to figure something out because Wine Wednesday is boring. Everybody does it. Everybody does discounts on wine. Wine drinkers are gonna drink wine regardless if you discount it or not. Who cares? I know I drink wine. I'm gonna drink it. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. But let's do something on Wednesdays that gets people excited, that's different, that we can get a crowd for. And obviously you had to use some sort of alliteration because that's just how this works. And so Whitney Wednesdays is the move. I mean, we like really good music in our store. I know that you were there, so I'm sure that you noticed listening to some of the vibes that we do. We play good music, and we don't just play, restaurant top part charts. We try to play music that people like and actually want to hear. And who doesn't love Whitney Houston? You know what I mean? So all the music that night from the hours are gonna be Whitney Houston hits. I'll tell you one thing we're probably not gonna play. We're not gonna play I Will Always Love You because it's really slow and it's a really long, draggy song. Even though it's beautiful, I don't think anybody wants to sit there and get excited having drinks or taking shots to playing I Will Always Love You. But we're gonna have drinks inspired by some of her song names. The food is inspired by herself. Some of the food that she loved, that she specifically talked about that she liked in interviews and stuff like that. So we're gonna have food specials, drink specials, Whitney hits, Wednesday nights. It starts on December the 4th is the first one. I wanted to give people time to hear about it and warm up. So you got to be there. Make reservations. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm coming. I love Whitney Houston. I think some of her later stuff is my favorite stuff. I know the whole bodyguard situation, I Will Always Love You, is great, but I like some of the the later Whitney Houston stuff. And then, How Will I Know and I Want to Dance with Somebody, but those are just classic tracks.
Classic tracks. We have the drinks will be named after those songs too. So
Can't believe I just said classic tracks. That was like my
it's fine.
favorite.
It's fine. Don't worry. Listen, everything repeats itself. Kids are gonna start saying it in like 2 years.
Yeah, they're gonna say, "Oh, it started with Robey on a podcast." Whitney Houston, for sure.
These are classic tracks.
Well, you're listening to Antonio of Sweet Peas, Robey, and Scott on Eat It, Virginia.